Hi, this is Julie Bisbee with the Oklahoman. I'm here today with Attorney General Drew Edmondson, and we're talking about the tobacco settlement, and we're at an anniversary point, right?
November of 2008 is the 10-year anniversary of the master settlement agreement on the tobacco lawsuit that was entered into in New York City in November of 1998.
And you were one of the attorney generals who kind of helped negotiate that, is that correct?
I was one of 8 attorneys general selected by our brother and sister AGs to go to New York and try to hammer out an agreement between July and November of 1998.
Okay, and can you tell us a little bit about what this means and how it got started? What was the settlement for, and why was there a need for it?
Well, it got started by a series of lawsuits filed by state attorneys general, beginning with the state of Mississippi in May of 1994. When Oklahoma filed its lawsuit in 1996, we were the 14th state to file a lawsuit, and once we got to a critical mass of states that have filed similar litigation, the industry expressed a desire to enter into a global settlement of all the issues. Philip Morris was one of the key players in trying to reach a negotiated settlement. They actually did it twice. Had a negotiated settlement that required congressional approval that was approved in '97, and it crashed and burned after nearly a year of effort. And so we went back to the drawing boards to see if we could craft a settlement that only applied to the states, that did not require congressional approval.
Okay, and what did the lawsuits allege? These lawsuits were against big tobacco companies, and what did they say?
What they alleged basically was a pattern of fraud and deceit and targeting of children, contrary to the laws of virtually every state. They had misled the public about the health effects of their product, and they had aimed their advertising, Joe Camel and others, at a segment of the population that was too young to legally buy their product. The basis of most of the lawsuits is a legal term called unjust enrichment, and that is there are warnings on the tobacco packs. People smoked anyway. They were getting sick. The tobacco companies were making a great deal of money, and the states were getting stuck in the middle with the medical bills through its Medicaid programs, its veterans programs. And so at the expense of the state, the tobacco companies were being unjustly enriched. That was the basis of the lawsuit.
Okay, and how has Oklahoma benefited from the settlement?
Well, in 2 ways. One is we've got a revenue stream coming into the state that can be used to improve the health of Oklahomans. We set up a constitutionally protected trust 2 years later in 2000, and we are the only state in the union that did that protected its money constitutionally. And we now have well over $300 million in that trust, the interest being available for health-related services. The second was we really cut down, eliminated, banned marketing to children. That's in the master settlement agreement. It's on file in the district court. It's enforceable in all 50 states, and that has had a tremendous impact. The incidence of youth smoking in Oklahoma has dropped significantly since 1998. And that means fewer kids are starting off addicted, and fewer of them will end up dying prematurely from cancer, heart disease, and smoking-related illnesses.
And Oklahoma has, I guess, the unfortunate distinction of having a pretty high rate of smoking in the state.
We still do. The benefits of the master settlement agreement have been national. Smoking rates have gone down nationally. They've gone down in Oklahoma, but not as much as other states. And if you've got 23% of your high schoolers smoking cigarettes occasionally, that's too many. We've got a long ways to go.
And what are some of the, public health efforts that have been funded by that fund that people could look and say, oh, okay, that's where that money is going?
Well, at the outset, when they can only spend interest, they can't spend the principal, so that the amount they had available to spend at the start was much smaller than it is today. So they began by simply funding the quit line at the Department of Health, a 1-800 number that you can dial to get help. You can also get more tangible forms of help, the gum, the patches, things like that, by calling the helpline through the Department of Health. As the corpus of the trust grew, the amount of money available for public health has grown. We then were able to start funding counter-marketing ads, the billboards and other advertisements that you see that say smoking stops with me. Those are funded through the Tobacco Trust. And finally, we've had enough money to start funding community grants where local efforts to, in the hometown, trying to stop their kids from starting to smoke, which are the most effective kind of programs you can have, are being funded by the Tobacco Trust today.
Okay. Is there anything else that you want to add?
Just that we have more work to do. We have a long ways to go. Oklahoma consistently gets bad report cards on its public health, and the most preventable area of that is in smoking. So we're looking forward to working with the legislature and with the health community to try to get more progress along those lines.
All right, very good. Thank you.
Let's see it.